I'm Draco Self-Important, and I think you should listen to me. Today, you're going to listen to me tell tales of Grindr. Ooh, spooky. It should sound spooky. It's a ridiculous place. It's not all bad. I did actually meet my partner on Grindr, so like Grindr is not, you know, the worst, but aren't all dating apps kind of the worst? Um, so I got a comment on a previous video that reminded me of a story because I mentioned it in passing. A dude who I hooked up with on Grindr who asked me if I wanted to bang dudes, why I wouldn't just be a regular girl. And I was very perplexed by this since he was on Grindr. I don't know, man. It's like you're there looking for dudes. Like, I'm like, I don't understand, man. How do you not understand that gay people exist while actively searching for gay people to bang? It doesn't. I don't know. I guess there's a huge conflation between sexuality and gender, and I get it. Lots of overlap there, but not one and the same. Not mutually exclusive. But the story of this particular dude is kind of fun for me. So, um, as previously mentioned, this was someone from a past life, essentially. Someone that I had known, like, shit, well over a decade prior to meeting on Grindr. Um, which is funny because that's happened another time as well. That I met someone on Grindr who I knew previously. The other time was fun though because like it was someone who I just liked and had lost touch with, who knew me pre-transition, who straight up like did not recognize me. But it was fun because I got to hook up with someone both pre and post transition. I wish he had remembered me so I could have asked, like for a comparison or something. But it had been, whoo doggy, very long since that one as well. But I digress. Um, I'm on Grindr, right, as you do. And I start messaging with this dude. I don't remember who messaged first. Um, but um, we're chatting back and forth, and he's like sending me some pictures, and I think it might have been a faceless profile, which like on Grinder that's super common. I know like people who don't do Grinder when you're like responded to a faceless profile, they're like, you what now? Because like that doesn't make sense, except that a lot of people on Grinder don't want people to know they're on Grinder. So they want to do like this sort of backdoor. Let me figure out whether or not you're, someone who's going to tell my mom or whatever. I don't know. Or my wife, as it were. I don't like that shit. Um, but, messaging with this dude and he's sending me pictures and he's got some tattoos that are questionable. Some tattoos that give me some like Nazi vibes. Not, like from what I'm seeing from what he's sending me with, like pictures of him with shirt on, and I'm just seeing tattoos on his arms. I think there was like an iron cross or some shit. So some stuff that was like, gave me pause, but not necessarily immediately, Um, and at this point, I don't realize that I know this person. Um, so, we chat for a while. We make plans to meet up. And then Oh, I let me backtrack. While I am talking to him and I'm like, "Hey, what's up with these tattoos?" He like gets like real defensive about it and is like, "What, you think everybody with tattoos is a Nazi?" And blah blah blah. Blah. And I'm like, "Chill the fuck out, bro. Like, I got a bunch of tattoos myself. You saw pictures of me. Like, I don't like. Hello. Um. So he's like, "Oh, sorry. I just defensive, whatever. Like, I get judged a lot or something like that." I'm like, all right, I can see that. I've had like strangers yell at me on the street about my tattoos and shit. So like, people are fucked up. I get it. So, dude comes over, um, and we're like talking or whatever, and we start like making out, and then dude takes his shirt off, and now mind you, they're like scratched out, like little kid style, like someone had taken a tattoo gun over them and just been like, just to like be like, this was a bad idea. The poor man's cover-ish up, if you will. It covered up nothing, but it, I think, got the point across that it was a bad idea. But fucking swastika tattoos. And I went, you gave me such fucking shit about questioning your tattoos, and then you come here and he's like, I know, I was really stupid and I was in juvie and like this whole like I was an idiot teenager. I know better now. And like, to be fair, like I was an idiot teenager, not that flavor of idiot teenager, but weren't we all some sort of idiot teenager? And I think people can change, and I think that if you don't give people credit for changes that they've made, then no one would ever change. So, like, what's the point there, right? So, like, their presence alone was not enough for me to like never want to speak to this dude again. Um, but his during the conversation, like asking me why I didn't just be a regular girl if I wanted to bang dudes, really, like, I don't know, man. Um, so we're sitting there and he looks at me and he's like, you look really familiar. Did you work at such and such school? And I go, no, I've never worked at a school. The only time I've, ever worked with kids while living on this side of the country was working at a drug rehab. And then his eyes get big. And I go, what? and he's like, and he goes, you're such and such, right? Because I don't, I didn't use my real name in my grinder days. It's just I don't use my real name online at all if it's not a professional thing. Um, so, oh, excuse me, damn, I'm made of burps. So like instantly is like, and I'm like, oh my god, who are you? And then he proceeded to like tell me stories of more infamous kids, kids who did crazy shit while they were at the rehab. To be like, hey, you remember the kid who blah 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 blah, and then I'm like, oh shit, like it tracked it back to me remembering this kid. This is only the second time since working there, fucking like over 15 years ago, that I have run into a former patient, client, whatever the fuck we're calling those kids. Um, Now, to be clear, when I'm meeting this person, he's like 30. Okay, so like I'm not like Cradle Robin, so just so we're super clear, I did not get someone like fresh out of adolescent rehab and, find him on Grinder. Um, but yeah, it got real weird. No, but the other time I ran into a kid outside of uh, a bar at one point. He was smoking weed in a parking lot. Like, well, here we are. To be fair, a lot of the kids in the particular program that I worked at were court ordered to be there if they tested positive for any drugs while getting arrested for other shit. So a lot of it would be like kid shoplifts, test positive for weed, let's send them to rehab. Which, to be fair, if it's my kid, I'd rather have them in rehab with like counselors and shit than thrown into juvie. So, like, if if you're going to institutionalize the child, can I have the place with like the doctors and stuff? I don't know. And people who seem to at least maybe sort of kind of care about the kids, maybe. But that's just me. But no, fucking Grinder X Nazi X rehab kid. Yeah, I did not like. I took the dude's phone number, or like I think I already had his number, but I had him in my phone as like first name Grinder. There's still I was looking through it. I gotta clean up my contacts just in general because I have like Jesus Christ, probably 200 past employees phone numbers in my fucking phone because like every time I would get a new class when I was working as a supervisor, I would add all my people so that I could uh, harass them essentially if they didn't show up to work. Wasn't a thing that I enjoyed doing, but it was a thing that they made me do, and well, yeah, that job wasn't good for me or anyone else. Um, I mean, I guess it was good for the cell phone customers. Maybe. The ones who actually got good customer service. But, like, most of the time, people just lied their faces off, and I had to spend my entire life chasing my tail trying to fix other people's mistakes. So, not a fan. Yeah. It's so weird to me to, like, see the trajectory of someone be so like what, like I don't know, man. It was not a kid that I expected to see with Nazi tattoos to begin with, not a kid I expected to see later in life at all. um you know, but who knows, maybe I routinely run into people, I don't know. um yeah. Yeah. I've got other tales as well, but I think that's probably a good starter. I love you, be safe, make good choices.